Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the next episode of Overwatch.
The Toronto Defiant will not be denied.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Made in Esports. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Spencer. With me is Chris. Today, we're going to talk about some Overwatch League. Most importantly, which team is going to have a bigger bounce back performance, or the biggest bounce back performance in our opinion, from their previous qualifiers. We're obviously going to take a focus on NA since that's the one that we watch a lot more. And I think there's three really good teams here to highlight, but one in particular that I think personally is going to have a bounce back performance. With that being said, before we jump into this, guys, let us know your thoughts down below, right? Give us your thoughts on who do you think is going to be the most
underperformed. Who underperformed last stage?
But who's going to bounce back? The question is who's going to bounce back. So who underperformed and you think is going to bounce back from last stage? And also, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Follow us on Twitter. Let us know how great you are in the comments down below, and we can jump right in.
Let me know what you ate for breakfast. I want to know.
Yeah, exactly. With that being said, Chris, what are your thoughts here?
What are my thoughts? What are some teams that we want to see bounce back? Now, I think one I'm going to say Toronto, but that's just kind of like a bias side thing.
No, I think there's
one team.
Sorry, keep going.
One team that I really, really want to see step up their game in the next stage is Justice.
Yeah.
I think
agree.
that you completely agree.
Well,
there we go. I can't believe it.
No, well, I think the other really good team to bring up here is Mayhem, right? I think Justice, Mayhem, and Toronto were two teams I believe went from 3-1 the stage before to 1-3 this stage, and I think there are three teams that are prime to sort of, come back and bounce back and come back with another 3-1 performance, for instance, especially in the case of the Mayhem. The very interesting part is that all three teams, I think, play each other. I don't think Toronto plays Washington.
Yes.
But the Mayhem plays Washington and Toronto. Toronto obviously plays Mayhem, and the Justice play Mayhem. That is how that works. So we actually get to see what these teams are going to be like head-to-head. I think in terms of the roster, the Justice are the one who I think need to have the biggest bounce-back performance.
Yeah.
I know they really showed some signs of some not very being cohesive as a team in that last sort of stage, but they have so much talent on this roster, and the coaching staff should be better than this, to the point where if they figure it out, again, I still think the Justice are a championship caliber team, and I'm hoping that this is the stage that we see it.
Yeah, it's really weird because they didn't start off too bad. They start off with a nice 3-1 beat on Dallas, 3-1 over Washington, beating Boston, beating Toronto, but now we're seeing them getting beat by the likes of Paris, Boston Uprising, teams that are you would consider not even in that dark horse category, almost the bottom of the level. And this is one of the teams that we were so high on. Decay,
I would disagree about Boston, but sorry, I completely agree. Can continue.
Yeah, okay. So some of those are debatable, but when it comes to a team with such good talent, and I don't know if Decay was
that was one of the problems, right? There was a couple of games where Decay just didn't play, so they need to figure out that situation, because when we talked about Justice being the superstar world-beating team, Decay was very much in that conversation. So if there's something once again going on behind the scenes, they absolutely need to figure it out. And don't get me wrong, I do think the rest of the roster is talented. Meg and Fury should be the best tank line in the league regardless. Jerry and Assassin obviously are no slouches by any means. But when we talked about this team being a top 3, top 4, top 5 team in the league, it very much was predicated off of Decay and his performance in the last playoffs that we saw.
Yeah, exactly what you're saying there, and that also makes me wonder, hey, is the reason why they did poorly just because of the teamwork they had to, the teamwork that they didn't have, or are they relying on Decay too much? That's what I'm asking. Was it a teamwork thing because they had to bring somebody new to play those games, or was it just they really relied a little too much on Decay?
Yeah, like I said, there might have been something going on behind the scenes that we just weren't aware of. Hopefully, more light is shed on that. Shed, yeah. Because I believe they finished with again. They finished they lost to the Boston and Paris, and then they 3-0'd Mayhem, and then barely lost 3-2 to the Shock. So they definitely bounced back a lot better in that week 3 performance. So personally, I expect them to come back looking better than ever. This team has all the makings to be that elite level superstar team, and I'm really hoping that they figure out, everything behind the scenes, and we once again see. Yeah, I was going to say Decay did play in the second part. I thought I remember that correctly. It was just the week 1 where he was a little bit absent here and there. But if they can figure that out consistently over the entire, I forget what the tournament's called, the July version of it. I don't think it actually has a name yet, but the July tournament, the Summer Showdown, they should be a scary team. So hopefully we can see him play every single game, every single map, because when he's in there, they look like one of the best teams in the league.
They really do. I think we got to move and talk a little bit about the
Florida Mayhem.
Florida Mayhem now. And it's super interesting because they have a lot of good pieces. My just real question is like how they really put those good pieces together. Like they have OGE, which is he's 13th, I guess, 13th ranked right now in Watson's kind of.
Yeah, I don't want to base all of our analysis off of IBM Watson.
No, I'm just bringing it up. I'm just saying that doesn't seem right considering like how good he should be. I feel like there may be a little bit of disconnect right now with the rest of the team in terms of matching his aggression with how they play.
Maybe, but they had a very good stage. They had a very good stage 1. I think this was just one of those cases where the meta didn't hit them correctly, and obviously Yaki can't play the Tracer, for instance, which he's so good at. And I know he's a great Echo as well, but BKB maybe couldn't play the Sombra, which he's again really good at. So I think that now once you get some new hero pools in there, this team should also perform. They also have a very, very good schedule. I believe they play Boston, Toronto, Washington, and then one more team. That's a potential 3-1. I know the other team they play, I'm pretty sure, is fairly difficult, but Boston and Toronto should be very winnable games for Florida. So I just expect them. They're just a consistent.
Unfortunately, you don't want a game against Toronto to be super winnable, but
we'll see. Again, we'll talk to Toronto in a second, but like me personally, this is just a good, consistent team. OGE, I think, hasn't looked as disconnected as I thought he might. Maybe with potentially, Orisa being shown away from and the return to Rhine, that might help him a little bit. Especially, obviously, his monkey's great. So we'll see. It depends who's banned. That's the problem. It's hard to do this yet. I don't believe the hero pools are out just yet. But on paper,
we
they're
could
a
just
really
be
good
speaking
team.
out of our ass right now.
Yeah, but on paper, they're a really good team, and they have a really good schedule, so I definitely expect them to be in this contention for these knockouts and potentially return to Hawaii.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, I feel almost like a little bad putting them on this list because I don't know if they deserve being a team that we expect to really kind of step their game up.
Yeah.
But guys, let's not deny the fact that Toronto with Aspire, the baby looked not too bad. Like,
no, I was gonna say they looked bad, but Aspire was not the reason why they looked bad.
Yeah. Sorry. Aspire wasn't the issue there, which is crazy. It makes me think like, if they played and had some more time training with Aspire, like, could we actually be pretty decent?
I think the meta really needs to hit them right. I think this needs to be a situation where, personally, I've been very disappointed with Nice play, and I think the tank line has been pretty inconsistent with their coordination. And I think if you can run it, like get in a situation, for instance, where maybe Trace is meta again, you get like a Trace and McCree, and you actually don't feel Nice, and you once again go either like Aspire, Hisu, or if you want to just go full Western hit scan, or DPS on it, you like Aspire Logics even, or Hisu Logics. Once again, I think that will be the strongest DPS lineup that we can field. I don't know if Aspire is going to be back or not. And I really, really need to see better ult usage out of this team and better coordination as a whole, but especially with that tank line. They had the coaching staff to do it. They didn't go in the knockouts this time, so they've just been sitting there watching tape, scrimming. I don't know how things have been going behind the scenes, but at some point, you just have to hope that they're able to figure this out. Last show, one of the best, flex supports coming into the league. Maybe we see more of Aztec because, again, the coordination has been so off for this team. The talent is there, and that's one of the reasons why I want to put them in this conversation, because there's been moments throughout their games where they have won sheerly off their talent, where I feel like they've been misplaced, they've misused their ultimates. By all intents and purposes, they should lose this team fight, but because they're so talented individually, they're able to pull it out. And if they can if something can click, kind of like the Atlanta Reign with this most previous stage, where things just click and a character can play their signature hero and kind of pop off, this could be a dangerous team. But
also the question I want to think about too here is, how did Aspire do so well? And I think one big thing that people are pointing out in his gameplay was how conservative he was playing. And that makes me think about when does KDG give up the kind of desire to want to play as an aggressive team? Because we are a team that plays extremely aggressively, and it doesn't work out a lot.
But see, I don't know if that's... I still think that the more proactive teams will see the most success. I think that Overwatch is very much about like controlling the pace of play and controlling the tempo. And so I like the fact that he wants to be an aggressive team, especially when you have players like Sado, Lastro, Hisu. Very nice. Very, very aggressive players. The issue is they're just not on the same page, and their ult usage is terrible. And I think that Nice has some pretty poor positioning. So I think if they can figure out those things, I still like tempo. I do agree that at some point we're going to have to adapt if it's just simply not working. The problem is...
That's the thing, though. It's like, at what point do you kind of be like, okay, this type of play style isn't working? And it's not like it's something that can't work. I know in Stage 1 or in the main melee, I don't know about June Joust, but in main melee, we know that Shanghai almost played that same type of style that was more passive. It was meant on, spending a little bit more time in poke phases and making sure, people or the team could have enough time to disrupt their backline. And it did work then, but they still got to the final of the main melee.
I'm just hoping that eventually we were able to figure out the team coordination and kind of take teams by storm, because I think we have the talent to do it, where if we can play that fast, aggressive style cohesively, we should be able to like overwhelm opponents and take some victories off of them. The question for me becomes like, will we, one, obviously re-sign the Spire? And then two, how much did the stuff behind the scenes with Hisu and Logix really hamper that team's development in Stage 2? Or the June Joust, right? Because again, like, we should have seen a bigger jump from the melee to the June Joust, and we didn't. And it's you can't completely rule out the possibility that was a large factor due to the fact that they had like a COVID outbreak within some members of their team. I know people were very vocal on Twitter about some of the stuff that was going on, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt for that instance, and this is going to be the time to kind of figure it out. Like at this point, we need to start seeing some progression. We need to start seeing some results. And if we aren't, this is kind of the moment where you might need to go out there and make a change and try to pick up some other talent, because you don't have a lot of leeway. You have a little bit because you went 3-1, but then you went 1-3. So you're kind of 4-4 right now. And if you have another poor performance in this Countdown Cup, you really need to come up with Stage 4 and show what you got. So this is going to be a big, important stage for Toronto.
Yeah, it's super interesting because I think we are almost on that cusp. And the reason why, here's the thing, if the issues were different issues, I'd almost say give them more time to work it out. But because the issues to me are really just so blatant, like in terms of alt usage and in terms of positioning, like so blatant that people who are in plat can like point them out. I really do think that they need to get figured out ASAP, and I don't think there's much of an excuse as to why they haven't already been figured out.
Yep, we'll see. Like I said, there has some COVID outbreak, so who knows? Like I said, this is going to be the moment where I think it comes together. So those are, I think, the three biggest teams in terms of who I think had the best possibility to bounce back. Personally, I'm going with the Justice. I've been a Justice simp this entire time. I've been buying the stocks on the stock exchange. I think they are the most likely team to really bounce back and kind of, if you said one of these three teams is going to the melee, the Summer Showdown, I would say it's the Justice off talent. I think you could argue Mayhem off schedule, but personally, I'm picking the Justice. How about you, Chris? You got one choice. Who's going to be?
Only stocks in OG.
You're going Mayhem. Yeah.
Not even the man, just OG.
Not their elite support line, not their elite DPS, and you're going OG. Okay,
just OG.
Fair enough, guys. With that out of the way, let us know who you think is going to have a bounce back performance and who you think is going to kind of turn the tables, and let us know in the comments down below. And as always, guys, thank you for watching and enjoy.